Hello, everybody. As you get filtered in, I'm putting some information in the chat that will be helpful today. So glad to see all of you joining for today's presentation. We're not going to waste a lot of time getting started. I ask that you just read through the information in the chat so that it's helpful for you. There is a lot of answers to questions in that. I did just send an email out that stated, that contained the slides for today's presentation. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for our Building Social Networks to Improve Post-Secondary Outcomes presentation. Whether you're a teacher, a translation specialist, related service provider, some other form of education or community partner, or a parent, these PD sessions that we've offered the last 2 months have been really helpful to benefit our students. So, thank you everybody that is attending today. I would really like it if you could state your name, like just your first name is fine, in the chat along with the title. So I would put in there Abby Mars, parent, or Abby Mars, transition facilitator for Family Matters. So if you could please take the time to do that really fast. So I always have to remind you that Family Matters is not a legal service agency. I'm going to reference IDEA Section 504 in Illinois School Code very frequently during the presentation today. But please do not take that as me giving you any type of legal advice. I'm not an attorney. Okay, I didn't go to school that long. I'm not an attorney. So we are funded from the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Services. That does not mean, however, that we represent the policies of the U.S. Department of Education or that we are endorsed by them. So it's just me today. Tiffany is out, but my name is Abby Mars, and I am a transition facilitator for Family Matters Parent Training and Information Center. I've been with the center for 6 years now, and Family Matters covers the entire state of Illinois to serve as its PTI. My role specifically is to help students understand more about their transition plans and advocate for better services or more robust transition plans. I'm also here to help educators, parents, and community partners understand more about IDEA and transition services, connecting to next steps and making sure our students are set up for success. As we all know here, Illinois has a big emphasis on transition planning for students with disabilities, and I'm here to help that process be a little smoother. So I'm here to give you some great ideas, tips, tricks, and more different viewpoints and perspectives to think about when you're planning for transition age students. So again, my name's Abby. I'm happy to be here today with you. I think this is the third or fourth part in our series for this professional development series. I will be sharing the link for PD credit at the end of the presentation. So since it's just me, I'm not monitoring the chat super great, but I will try my best to watch for questions. So the title of today's presentation is Building Networks to Improve Post-Secondary Outcomes, but I want you to really notice the subtitle, Why Relationships Matter More Than Programs. This statement surprises some people. Many transition meetings focus heavily on services like DRS, adult service providers, waivers, employments, and etc. These are super important. However, services alone do not create belonging. Services don't create friendships, and services don't create community partnerships. Relationships do. So I also host a monthly social awareness class, and my class this week really focused hard on relationships and really defining what a relationship was and how relationships can help their life to become successful. Research consistently shows that people with strong natural support systems experience better employment outcomes, greater independence, and improved mental health and higher quality of life. Today, we're going to shift our thinking from asking, what services does my student need, to asking, who knows this student? Who cares about this student? Who could become part of my student's life after graduation? These questions often have a greater impact on long-term outcomes than any type of service. So let's look at what we're going to learn here. So we're going to learn by the end of today's presentation, some practical strategies, not just ideas. So specifically, you'll learn how relationships influence employment, independence, and community participation. We'll discuss the concept of social capital, which may be a new term for some of you. And we'll connect today's discussion, as always, with different charting life course frameworks and outcomes. We'll also identify barriers that many students experience when and discuss strategies to overcome those barriers. Finally, we'll follow a student named Alex throughout today's presentation. Alex is fictional, but he has a strong representations of many students that you work with. As we move through the presentation, I'd encourage you to think about one student in particular in mind that you may be working with right now. How does today's information apply to them? So let's talk about why social networks matter. I'd like everybody to think about something for just a moment. Think about your own life. How did you find your current job? How did you meet your spouse? Who introduced you to your closest friend? Most opportunities in life come through people, not programs. So I got this job because I was friends with another parent of a person with autism that knew about the job. Okay. I don't know why the audio is echoing. Anybody else having an echo problem? Okay, hang on. Let's pause and take care of that real fast. How about now? Is the echo better? I know a lot of you aren't hearing the echo, but I just want to try to make it a little bit better. No, the echo is not better, or no, you're not hearing it. I'm not sure which one. I'm asking too many questions. It's not better. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go on mute, and then I'm going to come back out of mute. So, like I said, I found this job at Family Matters through a friend of another person with autism. My spouse and I met also through relationships built with other people, and I even picked the college that I went to based on friendships and relationships I had with other people. So, most opportunities in life come through people, not programs. Research consistently shows that individuals with strong social networks experience better employment, better health, higher life satisfaction, and relationships that opens doors. Imagine two students graduate with identical skills. One knows several employers, volunteers regularly, and has mentors. The other one has no community connection. Which student do you think finds employment faster? Well, usually the first student, not because they're more capable, but because they have better relationships. For students with disabilities, this becomes specifically especially important because many opportunities come through recommendations, introductions, and trusted relationships. So I really need to think about it and raise your hand if someone has ever recommended you for a job. So raise your hand in the chat or whatever. You ever been recommended for a job before? Yes, lots of people raising their hands. Okay. So that's exactly what we're talking about here. That's why it's important. That's why we're going to talk about something now called social capital. Now, social capital might be a different term that you haven't really heard before. I'm sure you know what it means. It just haven't been put in this type of frame here before. But social capital refers to the resources and opportunities we gain because of the relationships we have with other people. So think about all the ways people help one another. A neighbor teaches you how to fix something. A family friend gives you a ride to work. An employer offers an internship. All of these examples are an example of social capital. So if you think about who helped you to get your first job, like my first job was McDonald's, okay? Like me and a lot of other teens, McDonald's was my first job. And I can remember the individual that told me you should get a job at McDonald's, or the individual that told me McDonald's is great to work at. So that relationship helped to open that door for me. Um, so a friend, of course, was that person, but it can also be a neighbor, it can be a family member. Rarely does someone say, I didn't have any help getting my first job. Okay. I filled out my entire application and never knew anybody. So that very rarely happens. But sometimes through transition planning, we don't put enough emphasis and supports on the social capital, and that's what's expected of our students. Now, individuals with disabilities really have a hard time gaining employment. Okay, that is a proven fact across all angles. And all of us as professionals and parents here know that our students struggle to find employment. Okay, sometimes people don't see the ability, they see the disability, unfortunately. So most job and many life opportunities begin through those relationships, and should be no different for our students with disabilities. But we have to tailor their transition planning to help to build that bridge, just like we talked about last session, to make sure those relationships are really stuck with that. This means we need to intentionally create opportunities for relationship buildings for our students. So now let's talk about how Charting the Life course can help with that. So I have preached Charting Life course so much to all of you, you're probably sick about hearing it, right? But Charting the Life course has that core value that people with disabilities deserve the same opportunities for friendship, belonging, and connection as everybody else. Everybody has the right to live, love, work, play, and pursue life aspirations. Notice something important. None of those are services. Okay. Now, services can help us get those things. Okay. So, like home-based waiver services can help us live in our community. All right. Social skills classes can help us build relationships, but none of those are missed as services. Services can help get us the outcomes that we want. So we can't just focus our transition plan on services. And I've said this before, this is really hard. So when we come into these transition IEP meetings, there's 3 viewpoints at the table. There's the staff, the educators that are focused on IDEA compliance and the successful progress of the student to graduation or completion. Mom and dad are there, or caregivers are there, and they're focused on services, how their student's going to be set up for success after school. They're going to make sure they got in with DRS, with food stamps, all the things. The student sitting at that table, he's focused on wanting a normal high school life. Okay, so he's going to be focused on the relationships. He's going to be focused on what he can do for lunch that day. So there's 3 different viewpoints at that table. And tailoring and student centering our transition plans really helps us all to get in the same mind frame. And Charting the Life course is a great way to do that. So a lot of times transition planning becomes focused on eligibility, because that's the next cliff we have to drive off of, paperwork and services. Those things do matter, but they should never replace the student's vision for a meaningful life. Students with disability deserve friendships, they deserve opportunities to contribute, and they deserve to belong. Our responsibility is to help build those opportunities, not simply coordinate them. When we begin asking who belongs in the student's life instead of what services they qualify for, we really rethink and reframe our mindset. So we talk a lot about, and a lot of educators on here will know exactly what I'm talking about, but the hidden curriculum in school. So the hidden curriculum refers to all the social experiences that most people learn from very informally, very easily. The soft skills come. But for many students with disabilities, they never get directly taught things like, how do you join a conversation? How do you know when someone wants to continue talking? How do you politely disagree? How do you introduce yourself? These are things that naturally the human beings learn through interaction with one another. But for students with disabilities, we really struggle to understand certain social cues and social narratives. So it's hard to develop these skills. So then when we don't develop these skills, it makes those relationship building skills even harder. So as educators, we spend years teaching reading and math. As parents, we spend years teaching independence, but we don't focus a lot on that hidden curriculum. So we should devote some intentional effort to teaching social communication, relationship skills, and community participation. These are lifelong skills that support every aspect of being an adult. There are a lot of really great social skills curriculums out there. Family Matters does teach a session every summer on social awareness. We will have that session available, I think, in September to do it asynchronously on our website platform, where if you want to open that up and teach your students those skills in the classroom, that will be available for free. So let's talk a little bit about the friendship gap. So research shows that students with disabilities often have smaller social circles. They have fewer extracurricular opportunities, less community involvement, and fewer natural supports. One of the most important statements on this slide is having paid supports is not the same as having friendships. Okay. A job coach is valuable, a therapist is valuable, and a DSP, in my book, cannot be replaced. But they are paid supports. They're not a natural support. Now, typically people develop natural supports through relationship building. Okay. Your coworker is your friend at work for this reason, and you work well together to do this. Your dentist is a natural support. That you see once a year, maybe twice a year, but he's also paid. So they're a little different there. Natural relationships continue because people generally enjoy spending time with one another, not because someone is paid to be there. Friendships can last a lifetime. This is why schools should intentionally create opportunities for students to build authentic relationships before graduating. So, show of hands here, is anybody still friends with someone they met while they were in high school? Show your hands. I am fortunate enough to be very good friends with people I met in high school, in college, and even kindergarten. Now, think about a student that you serve, especially a student with higher support needs. Who are their friends? Who are their true friends? We have to work on ways to naturally support that. So we can spend all the time in the world planning for your student to be set up for success, maybe living independently in their own apartment or in a Scylla home, maybe having a job. But at the end of that day, at the end of that job, if they come home and don't do anything but spend time with their cats and watch Friends, is that the fulfilled, happy life that they want? So if we spend some time now working on actual, true, natural friendships with individuals, that will carry over into their adult life, just like it has for those friends that you still have that when you were in high school. Which, I mean, I was only in high school like 5 years ago, so that's why I still have friends. But yeah. As we move into the second half of today's presentation, I'd like to introduce you to Alex. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Alex, maybe. We just did talk about natural supports versus paid supports. So a friend is a natural, a job coach is a paid. So these are people that are going to be in and out of our individual's life all the time. Okay. But we have to make sure that they balance one another. So Alex is going to have coworkers, but he's also going to have a job coach to help support that relationship with the coworkers. He may have a therapist that supports his relationship that he has with his friends and so forth. But it's important to highlight that the natural supports that are with Alex are supported by the paid supports. He's not solely relying on those paid supports. Why social networks belong. Okay, so when people hear the phrase social networks, they automatically think of some type of social media. Now, I'm going to age myself a little bit here, okay? But I was a MySpace kid. All right. MySpace was the thing. So that's what I'm thinking about when I hear social networking. I think there was even a movie out there back in the early 2000s, like The Network or something that focused on this, right? So that's where my mind goes, is the online presence. Today we're talking more about something much bigger now. So social networking or social communication, like on social media, can be part of a person's social network. It's very popular right now for that to be the normal thing. But social networking begins when people spend time together and they share common interests. So many people of these places already exist in your community. So there might be natural families, school clubs, sports teams, scouts, volunteer organizations. These are all a social network of people that have common interests. So typically that's where your social network is going to begin. So if you're all in high school together, that's your common interest. Okay, so you're in this social network. And then that can branch off into smaller things, maybe band classes, maybe art classes, FFA club. They expand out from there because interests, and then you build relationships, because if you both have the same interests, you both enjoy time together, and then naturally you start to become friends. Now, this is Alex. Now, last month, last month, I guess, we talked about Jordan. Alex is similar to Jordan. He is an individual with an intellectual disability that attends his local high school. He's 16 years old right now. He loves sports and animals. He is a great person. Okay. He lives in the state of Illinois, so he has access to all the services in the state of Illinois. Right. He wants to have more friends, though. So right now, Alex spends most of his time at home. He has very few friends outside of school. His parents are incredibly supportive, but they are worried about adulthood. The transition team has focused primarily on employment goals, but they haven't really discussed his relationships. I'd like you to think about Alex for a moment and imagine if he graduates tomorrow. What concerns would you have? So Alex set up for post-secondary employment. He's set up for possibly even attending school, but we've not done anything to work on that relationship piece. So as an educator, as a professional, this is where we often see that there's a hole in the system. So we set Alex up for this job at the animal shelter. He's going to be great at the job part himself, right? He's going to be great about taking the dogs out for a walk, cleaning kennels, all of those things he's going to do great at. But is Alex going to be able to interact with his coworkers well? What if his coworkers want him to go out after work and see a movie, or someone wants to ask him out on a date? Can Alex navigate these things by himself? This is kind of where we see some holes and gaps in the system. We have such a short time, even though transition planning lasts a long time in the state of Illinois, we have such a short time to work on everything. But if we don't touch on things a little bit, there's a hole. And then Alex falls through that hole. He's not successful at work and he's not successful at college because we didn't focus on that relationship building part. So Alex's social network, he has strong family supports. We know that. He loves his parents, his grandparents. He loves his special education teachers, and they really know him well. But he has no friends outside of school. He's not involved in any community organizations. He has no employment experience and no volunteer experience either. So Alex is missing a lot of opportunities here. There's things that we can implement in his transition plan now to help him build those natural supports, those natural relationships to be successful in the next steps. All of the people on the left side are incredibly important, but only half of them are going to be at Alex's table after graduation. So his special education teacher is going to be gone. His speech pathologist is going to be gone. The social worker at school is going to be gone. None of those people are going to be part of his circle after graduation. Only mom, dad, and grandparents. Okay. So we have to work at ways to bring more people in to his social network. So currently right now, Alex vision is pretty simple. He wants a job working with animals. He wants friends and he wants to be independent as possible. And he wants to participate in his community. Now, look at what happened if we don't do anything. Okay, if we don't increase his relationship building, he's going to be isolated. He could face unemployment challenges because he can't work well with others. He would have limited community involvement. The important thing to remember is students don't accidentally move towards adulthood. Some intentionally create opportunities. Transition planning isn't simply asking what services does Alex qualify for, but how can we support Alex's dreams? So one way we could try with Alex is to experiment with extracurricular activities, okay? So we are so focused right now on getting his math scores in and getting his reading and getting the credits for this and him taking the ACTs. We're forgetting about the natural way students build friendships through extracurricular activities. So they make friends, they learn leadership skills, they're visible in their community, they build some self-confidence, and it's great to have on your resume. My son is an Eagle Scout. He's gotten tons of jobs and places in academic programs because of that on his resume. That's something we did extra along with school. So it's important that we show Alex these opportunities and try to find ways for Alex to see if he's interested in these activities. Now, typically, naturally, in junior high and high school, kids gravitate towards those extracurricular activities because they see interest in that. But with Alex, we might need to do some trial periods in these. Okay, we might need to pop Alex into band for a few weeks. We might need to have Alex go to an FFA meeting, or Alex might need to look what's going on at the basketball game. So we need to give him opportunities to see, oh, am I going to have an interest in this? Students naturally gravitate to things that they like, but for Alex, he's heard a lot of things about his deficits over the years. He knows he doesn't make good math grades, so he knows he won't qualify to play basketball, right? So he's already has this in his mind, even though he likes to play basketball. So we need to give him extra chances in order to see if these are things that he might want to do. So for Alex, the transition team knew that he really loved sports and he also really likes to help people. So they created a position on the basketball team for him to be the basketball team manager. So through this, he's not playing basketball, okay, because academically he's struggling. So he's not playing basketball, but he is having daily peer interaction, shared interests, responsibilities, and he's making new friends. So he's learning some job skills here. So it helps with that area of transition as well. He's learning to be more involved in his community and helping. And he may be working his way up to building a relationship with a peer that could help him with his math. So the next semester, he may be able to play basketball. So this chance of this extracurricular activity really moved Alex forward in his social networking. So let's talk a little bit about volunteering. Volunteering is a great thing you can incorporate into your education. I know many schools will spend time with their transition students at least one day, one class a week volunteering in their community. For Alex, however, there's a lot of interest in this. Okay, he's never done this before, but volunteering at different places in your community, as I stated before, really makes you visible within your community. Animal shelters can help him learn a job skill to work in a vet office. A food pantry can help you build retail experience. Libraries can help you work in college bookstores. I have a student on my caseload that just got a job at his college bookstore because he volunteered in the library. YMCAs, park districts, all of these are great, have great benefits. They have references on applications and resumes. They help you build those work skills and they help you make those community connections. So Alex here, he volunteered at the animal shelter for a few weeks and he really learned what parts about working with animals that he liked. So then when the animal shelter saw how well he was doing, they were able to offer him a more frequent volunteer position that, guess what, could possibly lead into a job. Or at least when he goes to apply at the pet store, he shows that he has experience working with animals. So there's a lot of unexpected results that can happen from volunteering. We go into it just trying to give back to our community, but our students really learn a lot about working and a lot about community and relationship building from volunteering. So I urge you to kind of reach out to your community organizations and ask what things your students could come and help do. It's a great way to learn those job and relationship skills. And it's also a great way for them to show that they give back to their community. So post-secondary education. So Alex is wanting to explore some trade schools. He's thinking a lot about life after high school. His transition team partners with the Department of Rehabilitation Services, or VOC Rehab, and arranges a visit to a local veterinary assistance trade program. Alex is experiencing everything during the visit. He meets the instructors, he meets the students, he learns about disability services, he asks great questions, and his vision becomes more clear. Students often need to see themselves in these environments to know this is the direction they want to go. So I know a lot of the times when we ask our students the questions like, where would you like to go to college? Sometimes they answer, I don't want to go to college. Well, maybe they really don't want to. I'm sorry. Maybe they don't want to go to college, but maybe they also don't know what that's available to them either. They really need to see themselves in the situation to know that's what they want. And that's what we did for Alex here. So don't be afraid to take advantage of those college days. Okay. Don't be afraid to take advantage of different trade school opportunities. So our students really go and look at things. When we think about college or trade schools, we often focus on the learning or the certificate part, but it's also a great way to, again, expand those social relationships. So say you go to a typical college and you live in a dorm, you learn how to live with another person. You learn how to interact with other people in your community. So that helps to build the relationships. A lot of times relationships that you make in college can build to career opportunities. You also learn and meet new people through student clubs and disability services. You learn to navigate systems. So college is for more than just learning academics, just as high school was. Of course, we all know that employment builds networks. I've met so many people through my job that's built to better outcomes for me. I can pick 12 of you right now out of the chat so that I know I've met through my job and has built better social networks for me. So Alex is no different. So employment offers a lot more than just a paycheck. It offers a way to feel like you belong, that you're doing, that you have purpose. Many of us have coworkers that we stayed in touch with for years and are a huge part of our life. For students with disability, employment creates a lot of natural supports. So my daughter, she works at our nursing home as a dietary aide, and she's made some friends there. And they now they now naturally include her in different things that they do outside of work as well, because they like her. They've had a chance to get to know her as a person. So I think that we don't often focus a lot on the relationship building that happens naturally in a job. So for Alex here, um, he remember that animal shelter manager. He became Alex's mentor, and he helped Alex apply for his first part-time position at a pet store. He had never done that before. The opportunity came through the relationship he had made through the network of people that he had. So Alex now has that person within his relationship circle. Okay, I know this presentation has a lot of content in it. Because of that reason, we're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on our knowledge check. But these are some things I really want you to think about that we've talked about during this presentation. So social capital, natural supports, and how extracurricular activities really help to support our students. Too many times I'm looking at transition plans and these kids aren't involved in one thing. And if they are, it's Special Olympics, which I love Special Olympics. I've been a coach for years, but there's more things. There's more to inclusion than just your place. There's being included as well. So really think about the opportunities those extracurricular activities can offer your students while they're in high school. There's a lot of barriers to social networking and social development for anybody. But for our students with disabilities, these are highlighted here because they are more likely to experience barriers in this area. So transportation. It's really hard to go out with your friends when you don't have a way to get there. So a lot of our students with disabilities depend on that online social networking. Poverty. Individuals with disabilities typically do not get jobs that pay the typical wage as a non-disabled person. They struggle to find employment. They struggle to manage their money. So lack of poverty, our lack of money, being in poverty is going to limit your social networking. It's hard to go to painting class when you don't have the money for painting class, right? Social anxiety, of course, runs right along with disability. A lot of people struggle with their disability and their identity, so that creates some social anxiety. Segregated programming. Okay, we still see that in America, in the state of Illinois. Unfortunately, it's not all as inclusive as we'd like it to be. Least restricted environment doesn't keep following you out of high school, so that kind of sucks. Lack of opportunities and family concerns. These are all ways that social networking is kind of stalled. So a family may be concerned about another person taking advantage of their young one with a disability, and that sometimes can stifle that natural development of friendship. Alex encounters a lot of these, just like everybody else. Okay, he has fear of failure. He has limited social experience, but the school really focuses on helping Alex. So they may train him to travel or use transportation. So they might write into his transition plan how to use Uber or how to use Lyft or the area bus. They help to provide him a peer buddy at school to learn different peer interactions. So they've identified a student within their school they think would be supportive of Alex and naturally pushed him into different environments. So maybe naturally set him next to another person in science class or at the lunch table, or paired him during a community outing. Mentoring is great for Alex with that animal shelter, the guy at the animal shelter, and he is in a lot of community-based instruction. So he goes out in the community and gets more comfortable with being out. So these are a great way that this school is overcoming those barriers for Alex. So technology, we're going to talk about this because this is the way of the future, you guys. Okay, so I am a person that met their very best friend online 22 years ago on a chat line, a chat room, which we don't even use chat rooms anymore. And he has been my best friend this entire time. Okay, so I'm a person that I know a connection that you make over technology can be fulfilling. There are some scary parts to that too. And for our individuals with disabilities, they are more susceptible to cyberbullying and exploitation. They just are. So it's very important that we're teaching our individuals skills to stay safe online. Okay, so look into those online safety programs for your student. There's so many great ones out there. We touch on it in our social skills class as well. But technology can be a great way to maintain friendship. So there's people that I was friends with in high school that the only time I talk to them is on social media. Okay, that doesn't mean that we have less of a relationship. It's just how we communicate now. Like the friend that I made way back 22 years ago, it was from an interest-based community, and we've built our relationship based on that. So I met him in a Guns N' Roses chat room. Okay, we're both huge Gunners. We're huge Guns N' Roses fans, massive Guns N' Roses fans, and we have now been to 9 Guns N' Roses concerts together. Okay, now he's from Israel. That's how far and expanded our friendship became. And now we see each other twice a year. So he flies here, I fly there. We spend time with each other. So that's a way those interest-based communities can help build those relationships. Now, a lot of our kids do online gaming. And as a mom of teenage boys, I hated online gaming. Hated it. You know, my kids were always wanting to be on it. They were always wanting to talk on their headsets. And I'm like, this isn't a real friendship. Like I said that about a dozen times. But then I remembered how much I was on the home phone when I was a kid, talking to my friends. Did we ever really talk about anything? Sometimes we just sat there on the phone and listened to the radio together, right? Or watched a movie together. We didn't have a lot of like face-to-face interaction. It was on the phone. So it's just a way the new generation is building those social connections with each other is the online gaming. Now, again, for any teenager or any student with a disability, there's a big risk of cyberbullying, exploitation, you know, all of that is there. So we really need to look into ways to help protect our students. I did find, and I have access to an online social skills curriculum that centers around online gaming. So it is a club that meets, I think, twice a month for students with disabilities, and they play popular video games together and work on social skills while they're doing it. So, and they identify red flags and ways to make sure that you're not going to be hurt in online. So the technology and social connections can build not just friendships, but like jobs, ways to get into college. Like you can have a chat on Facebook about the university that you're going to know what to expect. So don't rule them out. Okay. Yes. Technology when I was a kid was something that was, you just did for fun, but it's definitely now integrated into every part of our society. And that's not going away. Okay. They really do build true friendships. So for Alex, he is in a veterinary assistant discussion group for that trade school that he wants to go to. He also is on the social media pages, so he knows different things. He's on different animal care forums. So Alex is getting a lot from the social networking. I will share that online curriculum for you, absolutely. My son just finished it, and he really enjoyed it. So this is a social network map. Let's see if Zoom is nice to me and it opens like it's supposed to. I'm going to share the right screen here. So this is our social networking map or our relationship circle. Now, right here in the middle is going to be where we talk about Alex's immediate people in his circle. So who do we think is in Alex's immediate circle? So this relationship for Alex is going to be people that are in every aspect of his life. So who do we think that might be? Just pop it in the chat. We'll do this really quickly. Guardians, yeah. Mom, dad, siblings. Okay. Now, these people are in every aspect of his life, meaning that yes, Alex has a job outside the home, but mom drives him to the job, or mom helps him remember his schedule. So they're in every aspect of that. Now, the outer school here is going to be where we talk more about. We're going to start adding things. So this outside circle here might be the people at school. It might be his job. And we just keep going, church members, etc. So this circle is what we need to focus on here. Now, the middle circle, that's going to be pretty constant for all of Alex's life, okay? And we're going to have a lot of people in that circle. And these outer circles are going to be people that are ever changing. The very, very outer circle, with the whole point of this I wanted to show is that's going to be the paid support area. The paid support area is going to be the people that are going to come and go out of Alex's life. Not that he can't depend on them, but they're the people that he's not going to have as part of his network forever. So at age 16, we were focused with Alex on just his family. That's who he had most of the relationships with. Of course, his school staff were there too. But as he goes closer to graduation, his circle now is going to include coworkers, his shelter manager, a trade school instructor, classmates, and his friends from the basketball team. So Alex was able to expand that circle out quite a bit. Now, there are a lot of relationship mapping tools out there that you can help explore these possibilities for students. Charting the Life course has a wonderful relationship mapping tool. Okay, you can really see about the roles, like who helps me and how do I help them? How do they bring me joy? How do I bring them joy? So that's a great tool to use. That's available on the Nexus website. I can also send out a link. The circle that I use, I developed based on another program. Like we all share things back and forth, but we developed that as a way for it's a clearer picture for our students with higher support needs to know who's in their middle circle and how that branches out. It really helps them to talk about social awareness. Is my dentist somebody I asked to borrow money from? Okay, is my teacher someone that can help me get my IEP accommodation? So it's just a way with the circle that we teach students the appropriate relationships and interactions to have with people we have relationships with. Now, Alex's circle really started to expand into personal relationships. He had two close friends, several coworkers. It just kept expanding for Alex. So now he's not alone. Alex has a lot of people on his circle, in his bubble, that can provide him supports in different ways. And yes, the services that Alex has help support those friendships. So maybe he gets funding from DRS to help with transportation to get him to the YMCA to volunteer. Okay, so the services are still there. They're still super, super important, but they help to build those relationships. Now, at age 21, even age 25, Alex has finished his version of the veterinary assistance program that he was taking. He works 25 hours per week at a pet store. He volunteers at that animal shelter. He has friends he sees regular. He's dating. He's using public transportation independently, and he participates in community activities. And this was all as a result from doing extracurricular activities, volunteering in his community, and focusing on building up those social skills. So some key takeaways I really want you to think about today is social capital does matter, okay? Relationships create opportunities. Service alone do not create belonging. So students need and those opportunities connect. We have to, as their team, create those opportunities. Other students are going to come across this naturally. But I think if you really sit and think about it, the students that you serve, do they naturally join into things? Okay, do they find a date to prom? These are things that we have to start to introduce to them and show them the skills to build this. Okay, they're going to need extra help in this area, and it's not just to enjoy themselves and have fun to have friends. Friends build so much in their life. Okay, job connections, school connections, independent living opportunities are all based on the relationships that we have. Charting the Life course really emphasizes this as a critical support for individuals with disabilities, for anybody really. And I had a kid in class yesterday. You guys are going to laugh. Tell me, you know what? Hermits in the woods don't need anybody. They live alone and they're fine. He's not wrong. But what we want our individuals to understand is relationships, no matter what kind you have, you need those to be successful. Excuse me. All right, this is Alex. Alex is on a date, friend date, really romantic date. I don't know. We didn't figure that part out. But he's hiking in the woods with his friend. He's got a dog with him. I don't think you can quite see that in the picture, but he's out enjoying time. Okay, so Alex is doing something he likes with a friend. He's out with his animals. He's networking and having social interactions with a person. Now, Alex has long since left high school. So that bubble of relationships that Alex had in high school is long gone, but he's now, through these supports, these networking that we created for Alex, found relationships outside of that high school environment. So my daughter is currently navigating this. She finished school this last spring in May, and now she's trying to build ways of how to keep those relationships going outside of school, because in school she saw these people every day. She did these things every day. Now we have to figure out ways for her to make those connections, through employment, through volunteering, through common interest groups. I, of course, have to share some references with you guys to better understand ways to increase the networking. This is our survey. If you guys could all pull out your phones and use the QR code to take the survey. This will also be emailed to you later on today. Sorry, I hope I'm not getting a cold. I don't have time for that. And finally, this will be the next part of our series is understanding employment supports for youth with disabilities. So we'll talk a lot about different supports in the state of Illinois to help individuals with disabilities be successful in employment. So we'll talk about programs like DRS, WIOA, WIPA. We'll talk a lot about ways to increase our employment readiness skills in during the transition years as well. So at this time, I'm going to stop the recording so I can share the PD credit and also take some questions.